I finally got around to playing the beta for Bloons Card Storm, and not gonna lie, I had a lot of fun. And today we're gonna talk about what was ultimately good about the experience and what I think could be different. Although, keep in mind, I ultimately kinda suck at card games and didn't really know how to build a proper deck for most of my experience, so don't take this as a professional's perspective or anything like that. First of all, I have to comment on the art style. I think this game has done a very good job in its approach to redesigning the monkeys. They're cute, full of personality, and I can definitely tell that there's a lot of effort put into them. But you're not here for the art and cute monkeys, even if I definitely feel like I could just talk about it for an entire video, to be honest. You're here to watch monkeys fight to the death over some cards, so we'll get right to it. To play the game, you gotta build a deck full of monkey cards, boon cards, and ability cards to defend your hero. Your hero is a mascot of sorts that has 500 health and 3 abilities. There's a passive ability and 2 activated abilities that are all enabled by plutonium. We'll get to that. The activated abilities are inspired by the TD6 abilities and generally function like them too. The passive abilities are similarly inspired except for Oben, who for some reason has a shield instead of like something he actually does in game. The balloons in question are placed so that they can whittle down the HP of the enemy hero and grant various amounts of plutonium when used, granting your own heroes their ability. Balloons can also have their own traits like granting money upon being popped, granting a card upon being popped or upon being placed, or healing their fellow rubber brethren. They also occasionally get spawned by the Storm, an event where random chaos spawns balloons on the field for both sides to deal with. Now getting into the gameplay, I think it's pretty well balanced. Cheap and free cards don't do anything too crazy. Cards in the 4 to 10 gold range usually have pretty clutch uses like healing, map-wide or hero damage, sabotage, and buffing yourself, as well as being the bulk of your offense and defense. The most expensive cards are usually powerful abilities and units like ZMGs, monkeys that hit many targets or do a lot of damage in one shot, powerful buffs, and other game-changing moves. They feel balanced with my limited experience, although building decks is something I only really figured out recently. It was kinda confusing when I built a deck that had a balance of every type of card and price point, proceeding to only then get rolled several times. It seems like you're meant to spec into one playstyle, whether it be early game rushes, defending, late game rushes, countering, or any other playstyle you could imagine. But having multiple built into your deck seems to be the wrong move. But again, I'm not exactly an expert, so if I'm wrong, tell me about it, and I'll probably feel a little bad. So I will say straight up, I think the towers that passively defend, which some towers like Elite Defender and Tax Shooter do, are kind of awkward to use and honestly don't do a lot in my opinion. Because on one hand, they're kind of weak and often take a while to recharge for actively defending, and don't really do a lot against late game and sometimes mid game rushes. But at the same time, if they were buffed, it'd make aggressive shots near impossible to accomplish early game. It makes me wonder if they should even really exist, but I do like the concept of them. And it definitely could be done right, but at the moment I just don't see it being a super useful mechanic past the early to mid game IMO. Although with that said, I really don't have that much criticism to levy against this game, to be honest, because I just think it's, at the moment at least, pretty well balanced, and if the beta is anything to go by, I think Ninja Kiwi's doing a pretty good job with this one. Although I do know there are some cards that still feel kinda bad to have used against you and feel a little OP in your own hands, but other than that, I feel like this game is on the right track and should hopefully at the very least have a better run than Battles 2 or Bloons Pop. But with that said, what do you think? You can tell me in the comments or join my mysterious Discord server and tell me over there if you really want to. You can also like the video if you agree, or perhaps at the very least appreciate my input. You can also subscribe because you like me, or the things I say, or the little rats I hid throughout the video. But with that said, I am going to go to bed.